The future of our workforce isn't just written in boardrooms or factories, but in the universities, classrooms, and various forums, as well as in the minds of education leaders. They are the real visionaries who are pushing the boundaries in terms of creating the right set of talent, skills for the future professionals. In this series, Shaping Tomorrow, we honor them. We speak to various vice chancellors, deans, academic heads, and career services heads to understand how they are reshaping the higher education landscape and creating the future talent workforce. Join us as we uncover how they are transforming higher education to meet the needs of tomorrow, because shaping minds today means shaping the future workforce, one that is ready for the challenges of tomorrow. This is not just a conversation about education. This is a conversation about the future. And in this inaugural series, we cover the Middle East region, starting with the United Arab Emirates. Welcome to Shaping Tomorrow by Board Infinity. Welcome, Dr. Ammar, to Shaping Tomorrow by Board Infinity. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on this podcast. I think I've actually looked at your profile way before I ended up on the campus, and I understand that you're an extremely strong academician who spent time in the region over the last couple of years. And it would be great to have your introduction for our audience from your side, and then we can move forward.
Thank you so much, Sumesh, and thank you also for inviting me to your platform, and welcome to Curtin University.
Thank you.
I think is this your first time here, or
this is my second time here.
Your second time, yes. So welcome here. Okay, so I'm Ammar Kaka. I am actually a professor of construction economics and management. And I have been working in academia for just over 30 years, mainly in the UK and UK universities. Although I have actually spent about 14 years, the last 14 years here in Dubai. I was with another institution, a UK institution here in Dubai, I'm a civil engineer by training. But my research focus is on construction economics and management. So I have, throughout my career, I've mainly focused on using technology to help, managing construction projects, managing the economics, the payments of construction projects, and so on. And most recently, I've actually worked on applying knowledge vision for actually estimating progress on construction sites.
Okay, great, awesome. So I think you're a very strong researcher who went into academics and then from there now into administration. And Curtin is a name that a lot of people recognize, and because of the parent brand which is there in Australia, if I'm not wrong. And I think the franchisee here has been pretty successful over the last couple of years, running and doing pretty well. Now, tell us a little bit about Curtin University and the programs, and what are the kind of students that we have here.
Sure, we don't actually consider us here as a franchise, for sure. It's one of our global campuses. So Curtin University is obviously an Australian university. We are mainly based in the western of Australia. It's actually the largest university in Western Australia. We have about 65,000 students currently studying with us, in our campuses inside Australia, but also in our 5 other global campuses. So we have campuses in Malaysia, Singapore, Mauritius, Sri Lanka, and of course here in Dubai.
Yeah.
But also we have students who study with us, not on campus but online. Again, across the world, and we also deliver education, in partnership with other education providers. Curtin is also, it's quite a prestigious university. It's very, very high ranked university. In fact, we're top 1% university in various academic ranking systems. In fact, actually, if you go to the subject levels, there are many subjects that we are top 50 in the world. For example, mining and minerals, we are second in the world. And we obviously are also a research intensive university, so our staff are not only in the business of delivering education to the students, but also they spend part of their time undertaking research and advance knowledge. And again, we're globally known for a number of research areas, including energy transition, space, and many others.
Great. Tell us a little bit about some of the key initiatives of research that Curtin would have undertaken over the last couple of years.
So obviously, I mean, when I visited Curtin, in Australia, in Perth. Recently, I've actually met, just to give you just one example, I met with the team that actually developed the satellite, which actually was launched and now orbiting Earth. So it was really fascinating to meet actually the group of PhD students and obviously the supporting faculty to talk about their next actually projects, which apparently they're talking about maybe hoping to develop satellites to go around the moon.
Wow. Okay.
So that was really fascinating. Obviously, as AI and cybersecurity, all areas very advancing very rapidly. And there's some exciting work going on there. We also have actually a research institute, which is the Future of Work Research Institute. So that's actually looking at how employers and employee perform and optimize productivity in this ever-changing workplace. So there's actually quite a lot of that going on. But it's here in Dubai. I'm also, just to give you a very brief introduction about us here. So we established a campus in the year 2017. So we are actually obviously in a growing phase, and research is becoming quite important as we grow our faculty here. So more recently we have now secured approval to start enrolling PhD students here in Dubai, and we are actually launching a number of scholarships at that front. And that actually helps us to start undertaking projects that are contextualized to this part of the world. So students will be collecting data, focusing on challenges here, and trying to solve these challenges. And obviously, we've got access to world-leading talent across the university in Australia, but also elsewhere, who are also keen to engage in supervision.
Excellent.
And so on.
Okay.
Yeah. More again, recently we're hoping to secure also funds for some research projects in psychology.
Okay. Interesting.
And actually also renewable energy.
Okay, interesting. So the one of the things which I have seen is that when we keep adding programs into a university, how do you go about measuring the success, making sure that it's delivered the right way, and how do you actually go about doing it? I mean, the university would have certain kind of way of doing it, but what are your flavors of doing it, or what is the approach?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, we are certainly at the growing phase now. So we are actually discussing a plan to bring in more programs, and it's actually it's going to look like actually like a vertical growth, but also a horizontal growth. What I mean is we are we've got a number of undergraduate courses running at the moment. So we are going to introduce new subject areas to Dubai here. So for example, design. We have a portfolio of courses that we are keen to actually start launching here in Dubai. So new subject area is going to be important at that level, but also vertically. So we are very, very keen to move into the postgraduate education. At the moment, we have a couple of postgraduate courses, but that's an area we strongly believe in in the sense that lifelong learning is becoming very, very important. There's a lot of actually practitioners here who may have completed their degrees 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and as industry and the skills required to make an impact are changing. There's actually quite a valuable benefit to gain from actually a refresh, and also to update these practitioners with the latest developments, the latest knowledge, the latest skills needed. So we are actually, I think you'll see that even from the coming September, there'll be a number of postgraduate courses moving into, and as I mentioned, actually we are also moving to the PhD, the research space. So there's a number of fronts we are growing at. In terms of what actually, how do we measure the success of a program? It's actually the difference our students make when they graduate. And then I think that's the ultimate success of a program. Undoubtedly, a bulk of our students obviously join us, and they aspire to get a job afterward,
right,
and apply for jobs. So in that sense, it's actually graduate rate, employability rate is very important as a measure of success. Some choose and aspire to move to start their own business, and again that's something we are very keen to see. And in fact, actually we're launching an incubation hub here to encourage students to think not just about actually seeking a job, but creating jobs for others even. But I think these how many students who created business, how many students secured job is obviously one measure, but it's ultimately how successful you are when you are joining the industry, what difference you're making. And I think that's something that we try as much as possible to track success stories of students, to stay connected with employers and see how our students making difference. So that these are the main, the ultimate really success factors.
Actually, that brings me to the subsequent question. With respect to student employability, right? Are there some specific areas that the university deep dives in terms of the curriculum, or not as part of the curriculum, but still given to students so that they are more and more prepared to enter the job market and be successful? So from both standpoints.
I think the job market is actually changing, and as technology advance very, very rapidly, about the AI, people are scared of AI to replace jobs and all of that. It's actually, what we see is employers are really focusing now on obviously, in addition to actually the knowledge students will possess when they join them, but it's also about the skills, their skills, not just soft skills, but it's actually how do you use knowledge to solve problems, to innovate, to come up with actually new products or new services. That's what they're looking for. It's also mindset is very important. Mindset of their employees, stay positive, resilience and all of that. So it's actually obviously as we prepare students for the professional world, is we have to give them the fundamentals. The fundamental knowledge is essential because it's actually prepares them and empower them for lifelong learning. If you have enough knowledge about fluid dynamics, for example, you can learn more about fluid dynamics, and it's ever this knowledge is actually created all the time, and you will face new challenges in the future, new products, new innovations, and you're able to learn those if you have the fundamentals. So we make sure, obviously, every program is empower the students with the fundamental knowledge, gets you really up to
a certain level.
The level required. But it's about engaging the students with projects. With activities that will help them to develop those skills, to actually perform when they get. That's very important. I think and we do spend quite a lot of time to do that. And it's, of course, and that's all academic, academic stuff. But I think you also have to recognize that learning and skills development does not only take place in the classroom or even when you study back at home on your own. It's all about actually how much you're interacting with your peers, how much it's even about how much you're engaging with community service, volunteering, how much you're getting actually inspired by success stories from guest speakers, successful leaders. It's all that, and I'm really proud of not just obviously our staff at large, but also our students and our student council, because we work really in partnership to actually create all these spaces for students to be empowered and flourish. We have all the time we have very comprehensive activities, programs to help students with that.
Yeah, I could see a lot of positive vibes in the campus, students running around, doing some activities, some clubs, all those things are in shape. And in my previous discussions also, I remember that, many of these aspects were told that, we really focus on the student development as a whole versus academic. That's great to hear. One question that I had was around, the fact that, you've been academician, now you're a strong administrator. Do you miss teaching, or do you still teach?
That's a good question, actually, and it's you probably have asked others the same. It's actually, once you're academic, you're always an academic. So I actually, I'm proud to be first and as an academic, and although finding time actually to teach and to research is not easy at all, as you would expect. But it's always important to actually I think even if you give a one lecture every semester or something, it's actually interacting with the students. I find very, very important. And it's actually even when they graduate, the students that come and shake your hand is, unless you've taught them. You're just somebody like a figurehead in the university. They don't relate to you, so it's actually having that relationship is very, very important. I make sure actually whenever I pass on corridors and see students, I make sure even if they're not looking, I just say hello to them. I think that relationship is very important, and to hear about their feedback, what they how their experiences, even their successes, their maybe challenges as well. It's very, very important to stay very close to them.
Yeah, that's true. I think this is one of those things that a lot of educators look up to also, that this is the impact that they create in the students, and you can see the direct impact in front of your eyes when you actually do that with students and see them passing out with flying colors, right? So that's great. So Dr. Ammar, leave aside the professional part of you. What do you do to wind down?
I do make sure I do wind down. So every time, when I do have the time, and that's not always easy, I do actually go to the gym. And do a bit of cardio, maybe just a bit of resistance training, just to keep my muscles intact. And I find actually sometimes when I do that, and especially when you go on the treadmill, I always listen to one of these audiobooks, and not too scientific books, audiobooks, but it gets you to also get out of your own space and learn about other things. And I think sometimes even learning helps you to wind down from your thinking most of the time about certain areas.
So on a closing note, I think this region has seen a lot of educational institutions. Every 2 to 3 months we get to hear about a new institution launching. Now, what would you, as a person who has spent so much time in this space, would want to recommend maybe one or two things to people who are setting up new institutions and trying to become successful in the region?
I think, to be honest, it's in academia is very easy. It's quality, quality, quality. It's actually there are no quick wins. I'm talking maybe also to investors as well. There are no quick wins in academia. It's a long haul. It's a long work, and reputation building is very, very important. And to be honest, no matter what, how competitive a landscape is, I think there's always good good prospects for quality institution and institution that want to add value and make an impact on a local society. So I think whether it's a global university like ours, or whether somebody's wants to start a new university, I think that's what you meant in terms of landscape. Then I think there's always opportunities to make an impact. I'm actually I've been in Dubai for maybe 15 years now, and it has actually developed the education landscape here. When I came first, it was very, very small, especially the education hub was very, very small. But it's actually over the 15 years, it's actually been really transformative here, and many global universities established campuses here, which is great. And actually the more reputable universities, even the better, because it actually traces the profile,
right?
Where actually
absolutely
it becomes visible. The Dubai Education Hub becomes visible, and it actually starts to attract students, not just from the UAE and the region, but even from wider. And we have started to see that actually in Curtin. We have amongst the university, we have one of the largest percentage of international students. So we attract students from many other countries.
Excellent. So it was very nice to have you here on this podcast. I think it was a very genuine conversation that came from the heart. Nothing prepared, or we didn't stick to any script. So thank you once again for being here and sharing your thoughts and wisdom.
It's lovely to have you with us, and hopefully we'll stay connected.